So here's the thing. When you're in a loving marriage, you'll do things in the marriage that could be considered deal breakers.
The room was quiet, but not with peace. It was the kind of silence that screamed. Robyn sat hunched on the edge of her bed, staring into nothingness. Her eyes were hollow, rimmed red. The afternoon sun stretched across the Flagstaff sky, casting pale golden streaks across the room, but there was no warmth. Just the sharp, suffocating chill of dread. Bills unopened, unpaid were scattered across the dresser. Past due, final notice. Threat of disconnection. Even the IRS had come knocking. Downstairs, Kody paced like a caged animal, his hair disheveled, fury in his eyes. His bare feet slapped against the hardwood floor, round and round, as if his movement might somehow undo the mess they were drowning in. But reality was inescapable. Everything was gone. Robyn's online jewelry shop dead, Kody's obscure business investments bankrupt, and those TLC checks no longer gold. It's just gray, shriveled. Reminders of the empire they had lost. Even worse was the betrayal, not just of family, but of the public. They were once icons of polygamy, standing tall and proud, claiming love could be multiplied. Now they were punchlines, warnings, the epitaph of a failed dream. Robyn trembled. As she finally spoke, her voice barely audible. "I don't want to do this." Tears gathered in her eyes, but she didn't wipe them. They fell silently, one after another, like her dignity slipping through her fingers. Kody stopped, pacing, his expression twisted into something bitter. Without warning, he spun toward an old tripod still sitting in the corner. He hit record on his phone and forced a manic plastic grin. "Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Smash that like button." His voice cracked mid-sentence, sarcasm folding into rage. "This is *T. Meri owes us." His face flushed. With fury now, lips trembling with indignation. She's got the B&B. She's got income. It's off living her little mountain fairy tale while we're here trying to keep a roof over our heads. She wouldn't even have that B&B if it weren't for this family. And now she's what done? The word family left his mouth like poison. It didn't mean what it used to. Not since Christine walked, then Janelle, then Meri. All that remained were ashes and regret. Robyn, silent for far too long, finally reached for her phone. Her thumb hovered over one contact. Meri Brown. The name pulsed on the screen like a wound that never healed. Robyn hesitated. Then tapped call. Hundreds of miles away, deep in the wintry stillness of Parowan, Utah. Meri stood in her cozy living room, sunlight pouring in through tall windows. Her B&B was warm, alive, filled with candles, laughter, whispers of healing. It had become a sacred space for women all over the country, a home, a rebirth. And for the first time in years, Meri felt free. Whole, she didn't flinch when people said her name anymore. Then the phone rang. She glanced at it. Her heart skipped. Robyn Brown, it was a name that carried so much betrayal, silence, years of pretending. She hadn't spoken to her in nearly a year. Not since she walked away. Not since she chose herself. Still, curiosity won. Meri pressed accept. Robyn's voice was small, shaky. "Hey, Meri." A pause. "Kody's here too." The words rushed out like a wave. We need to talk." Meri's stomach tightened. Instinct kicked in. "Talk?" she asked. Carefully, Robyn dropped her voice to a whisper. "We're in trouble, Meri. Deep. We're drowning. The house, the taxes. We're losing everything." Then, without invitation, Kody's voice sliced through the line, cold, commanding, familiar. "Meri, this family gave you everything. 2 decades of support. Now it's time you step up. Help us. You owe us that." There it was. Meri stood, in stunned silence. Then, slowly, a quiet laugh escaped her lips. Not cruel, but heartbreakingly sad. "I owe you," she repeated, her voice calm but razor-sharp. "I begged for love, Kody. Pleaded for acknowledgement. For a scrap of emotional connection, and you gave me silence. You gave me Robyn. Robyn tried to cut in. We didn't mean to, but Meri's voice now carried weight. She had found her spine and she wasn't letting it go. Don't? You used me. You both did. Now that the ship is sinking, you don't get to call for my lifeboat. Pause. No, I won't help you. And just like that, Meri ended the call. Back in Flagstaff, the line went dead. Kody held the phone. To his ear for several seconds, frozen. He couldn't process it. He truly never expected her to say no. Not Meri. Something in him cracked violently, screamed, hurling the phone against the wall. Shattered instantly, just like the illusion of control he had clung to for years. It's your fault, he roared at Robyn, face flushed and trembling. You drove her away. You poisoned everything. You pushed Christine, Janelle, and now her. Robyn shrank. She couldn't deny it. And worse, she knew he was right. She had played the part too well. And now they were alone. Broke, hated, unforgiven. Reality TV was over. But the consequences had just begun. Done. You picked me. Robyn's voice cracked as the words escaped her. She wasn't yelling, she was breaking. You let them go. One by one, you watched them walk away. You didn't chase after them. You didn't fight for them. Her hand trembled as she wiped at her face. You let them leave. And you picked me? Kody slumped into the couch like a man finally realizing the fall had no bottom. He buried his face in his hands, breathing shallowly. His voice was muffled, small. A whisper that didn't match the man he used to be. I thought she'd always stay, he muttered. I really believed. Meri loved me. Robyn looked at him, her face tight with a grief far beyond money or pride. Her words came like a cold wind, soft but cutting. She did love you, Kody. You just didn't love her back. Silence followed. Thick, brutal silence. The kind that doesn't invite comfort but swallows everything whole. The walls of the mansion, once filled with life, now echoed. Every sound bounced off empty rooms, bouncing off memories they couldn't bear to revisit. They were ghosts in their own home. Rowan, Utah. Meri stood quietly by the window, coffee in hand, the wind rustling the evergreens outside her inn. Her B&B had become more than just a business. 'Twas a resurrection. It's a safe place, not just for travelers, but for women. Women like her who knew the ache of being unseen. For years, Meri had waited for a call, for validation, for love. And now, she didn't need it anymore. She sat down at her desk, flipping open her leather-bound journal. The morning's light spilled over the page as she scribbled notes for her next women's retreat. In the corner, she jotted a phrase almost without thinking. Public fallout begins, because whispers were already swirling. Back in Flagstaff, the spiral had begun. Photos had surfaced. Rumors leaked. Kody had been spotted outside a local pawn shop, slumped, unshaven, clutching a jewelry box in one hand and a worn briefcase in the other. The caption in the local Facebook group was merciless. Guess who's turning memories into money? It went viral fast. Speculation flooded social media. Twitter threads, TikTok reaction videos, Instagram reels with titles like Meri finally says nitrogen monoxide. Karma knocks on Kody's mansion door. The collapse of the prophet. The people who once criticized Meri were now praising her, calling her brave, wise, a phoenix rising. She had become a symbol of dignity reclaimed. Even TLC took notice. Meanwhile, inside the once grand mansion in Flagstaff, Kody sat at the long dining table, surrounded by chaos, foreclosure notices, IRS demands, unpaid utility bills. Each envelope was a coffin nail. Robyn stood nearby, her face pale and worn, her voice barely audible. We waited too long. She whispered, You told me Meri would help. Kody didn't yell this time. His words were slow, stunned. I didn't think she'd shut the door that hard. Robyn's voice cracked. Should we sell the house? He didn't respond. Because the truth was, he knew. The house was never just a house. It was his delusion of control, of success, of eternal unity. Letting go meant facing the fact that it was over, that he had ended it. But Robyn had already made the decision. "I called a realtor," she whispered. A few days later, Kara retrieved her mail and spotted a handwritten envelope. It wasn't official. No legal threat, no bank letterhead. It's just a name scrawled in shaky handwriting. Robyn. She hesitated, then opened it. "Meri, I don't know what to do anymore. I'm not writing as a sister wife. I'm not writing as someone who wronged you. I'm writing as a mother. We're drowning. The children are scared. I can't sleep. Can't breathe. I know I didn't fight for you. Kay, I know I stood by while you were pushed aside. I regret it. I regret all of it. I'm asking you. Not for me, but for them. Just help us keep a roof over their heads. I'm sorry." Robyn Meri read it once, then again, then a third time. Her hands trembled as she folded the letter back into the envelope. She stared out the window for a long while, coffee gone cold beside her. Then, slowly, she turned the envelope over and wrote, in her signature cursive, "Pawned in public." The collapse goes viral within a week. Everything cracked. Former cast members began speaking, not directly, but just enough. Janelle, hiking alone in the mountains, posted, "When you release other people's illusions, your burdens get lighter." Christine, glowing on her Utah porch, captioned a selfie. "Peace is priceless." Then came TLC's decision. A Zoom call. Kody and Robyn sat stiffly, trying to summon charm they no longer owned. The network executive didn't flinch. "Kody, we're greenlighting a new Sister Wives special." Robyn's face lit with faint hope. "Redemption. A comeback. It's called The Last Wife Standing." She froze. The executive continued. "It's Meri's story now. Her strength, her healing." Christine and Janelle will join in future episodes. Kody went red. "You're cutting me out." There was no soft landing, no apology. "You cut yourself out." The executive replied, "A long time ago." That night, their house was silent again. Robyn cried in a separate room, her tears echoing against the now empty halls. Kody sat in the dark, alone. No cameras. No audience. Just memory. He picked up his phone. Meri's contact still sat at the top of his screen. His thumb hovered over it, not to call, not really, maybe to apologize, maybe to beg. But in the end, he said nothing. He just stared and let the screen fade to black. There was no dramatic farewell, no final text message, no cryptic email laced with regret. No olive branch extended in the dying embers of a fractured relationship. Kody didn't say goodbye. He simply deleted the contact. Just like that, Meri. Was gone from his phone and, finally, from the narrative he still tried to control. A single action, so final, so simple. And yet it carried the weight of years of silencing, invalidating, and emotional erasure. Meri's moment of light thousands of miles away under the warm, steady sun of a Utah afternoon. Meri stood tall in front of a circle of women who had come to her retreat not just for guidance, but for something even deeper: permission to begin. Again, their eyes were soft open, some with arms wrapped around themselves, others holding notebooks or warm mugs. But all of them watched Meri with reverence. Not because she had been on television, but because she had walked through fire and lived. "I spent years waiting," Meri told them, voice calm but layered with the weight of old pain. "Waiting for someone to see me, choose me, rescue me." And then, one day, she paused, hand gently resting on her chest. "One day I stopped, waiting, and I heard something I hadn't heard in a long time." A murmur passed through the women. I heard my own voice. It was always there. I just couldn't hear it beneath the noise of needing to be loved by people who never truly loved me. There were tears, nods, quiet sobs. One woman let out a soft exhale as if something heavy had finally lifted. And in that room, something sacred unfolded. Not just healing, but reclamation. The empty house back in Flagstaff, the mansion that had once been hailed as a testament to family unity, now sat hollow, cold, like a mausoleum built not for the dead, but for the living ghosts still trapped inside it. Robyn wandered the halls, like one of those ghosts. The laughter of children no longer echoed through the rooms. The shrill buzz of forced cheerfulness had vanished. In its place, silence, thick, suffocating silence. She sat slumped at the kitchen table. The clutter before her was a reflection of a life unraveling in paid bills. Denial letters, property tax threats, expired credit cards. The jewels Kody had once gifted her symbols of supposed love were long gone, pawned for scraps to keep the lights on. And in the next room, Aurora sat on the couch, face pale, eyes fixed in a faraway gaze. Her arms were folded tightly over her chest, her phone in her lap like it weighed 10 pounds. She was trembling, not from fear but from realization. And then she said it. Her voice wasn't loud, but it shook the walls. "Why did you bring us into this?" Robyn looked up, startled. Aurora's eyes blazed a nut with teenage defiance, but with aching, earned clarity. "What made you think this would work? The life? The secrets? The way you pushed everyone away? You believed it would all magically work out. But it didn't. It fell apart." Robyn tried to speak. "I was trying to protect you, sweetie." But Aurora shook her head. "No, you protected yourself. You told us Meri was unstable, Christine was selfish, Janelle was ungrateful, and you made us believe it." Tears filled her eyes, but she didn't back down. "You weaponized love. You used Dad as a shield. You made us choose sides when we didn't even understand what the sides were." Robyn gasped, clutched her chest. Aurora didn't relent. "You lied to all of us, and you taught us to lie too." And then, softly, almost as a whisper, "He's not even a dad anymore. It's just a shadow in a house filled with echoes." Aurora's cry for truth that night. Aurora shut her bedroom door, hands trembling as she held up her phone to record. She had no script, no plan. Just a breaking heart and a truth too big to keep inside any longer. Her tear-streaked face filled. The screen. "I don't know who needs to hear this," she began, voice cracked but resolute. "But sometimes your parents aren't telling you the truth." She paused, swallowed. "Sometimes the people who raise you turn everyone else into the enemy, and you believe it, till you don't." She exhaled, chest rising with the weight of what she was about to do. To Christine, to Janelle, to Meri. "I'm sorry. I believed lies about you. I repeated them. I judged you, and now I see you. I see everything." The video went viral in hours. It was raw. It was unfiltered. It was truth. Robyn's collapse. Robyn watched it in the hallway, staring into the screen like it had opened up and swallowed. Then her knees buckled, and she fell hard down to the cold tile. She sobbed, body shaking. "She betrayed me." She screamed. Kody rushed over, but she pushed him away with a force that stunned even him. "My own daughter betrayed me." But Kody didn't look up. He stared at the floor, jaw tight. And then, finally, he spoke, his voice quiet, deadpan. "This happened because of you, Robyn." He looked away. "Because of both of us." A message in the dark that same night. Meri's phone lit up with a new Instagram message. "Aurora." Meri stared at the name for a long moment before she opened it. "Hi, Meri. I know this may be shocking, but I had to tell you. I was wrong. I see now I believed what they told me. But it wasn't true. I'm so sorry. You didn't deserve any of it." Meri didn't cry. She just held the phone to her chest and whispered, "Thank you." Then she replied, "Takes courage to confront the truth. I hope you find peace, Aurora. You deserve it. It's the one-night special." The Reckoning TLC didn't hesitate. They called it Sister Wives, The Reckoning. The soundstage was designed like a cozy living room, but the tension inside it was sharp enough. It's cut bone, Meri, Christine, Janelle, Aurora, all seated, calm, steady. Ready, then came Kody, then Robyn. They took their seats opposite the others. Robyn looked to Aurora, but her daughter never met her gaze. Julia, the host, began. "We're not here for rehearsed apologies," she said. "We're here for truth, and the truth came.